All right, looks like we are live on YouTube and Facebook, and we've got all sorts of things going on here. So, hope you are all well today. I am doing amazing. Yes, this is a rare event, so take a screenshot. Yes, I'm in casual clothes, and part of the reason is my youngest is turning 11 today. And we are going to go out and do some laser tag and get all crazy. So we're getting ready to do that, and I'm sorry I was running a little bit late on getting this live at 11 Eastern Standard Time, but I had some things I had to get done in relation to that before the party today. So it's gonna be a great day. And I am a laser tag phenom. I'll let you know. I am. Of course, I'm going up against like 12-year-olds, so you know how much of a phenom could I actually be. Anyway, so let's move on to this. We're Ask Coach session, how to train your tenants. And yes, whether you realize it or not, you have been trained. You have been trained well. And what am I talking about? So for those of you who are joining, say hello. Thanks for, I'm going on a couple different medium here. So, hey, James Martin, good to see you. But I want to point out something to you, whether you realize it or not. If you're a repeat customer of any business, and it could be an online business, it could be an actual brick and mortar store. We can use Starbucks as an example, Walmart as an example. But if you are a repeat customer of any business, you've been trained. I mean, and I know you may not want to admit that, but you have been trained. And that is on purpose. And the better the company, the deeper the organizational structure of the company and the onboarding process and the indoctrination process of the company, the better trained you are. Right? So I want you to think about that for a second. And you're thinking, well, how have they trained me? Well, let's go. We'll use Starbucks as an example. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Starbucks. I love the company. I think it's a brilliantly run company, and I mean, honestly, it used to be that and a cup of coffee would get you something, right? Well, now a cup of coffee is 4 times what it used to be because of Starbucks, right? I mean, it's got this fancy coffee and this whole idea, this whole concept of more about community than it is from anything else. Hello, Benny. Nice to see you from Brownsburg, Indiana, just south of where we're at here in Lafayette. But as I've been going through these Ask Coach sessions, and first off, let me point out that the Ask Coach sessions are for members, so the members can actually submit questions, and I give them individual coaching on that. But I also use that for these sessions here. So I want you to understand really what that's about. And if you're interested in membership, you can go onto the site and do that. But anyway, so that's the shameless plug out of the way. But as I'm recognizing, there's a lot of questions that are based around the really infrastructure questions, right? And most people don't recognize, and whether if you're in small business if you're in business for yourself, or you have a small business, or even if you work for a business, and that's something where you are in charge of the indoctrination of your customers, that is something that you really need to understand. Yeah, Julie, I'm not a fan of Starbucks either. I mean, but I don't like their product. We'll just say that. I mean, I don't mind going there and having meetings, that sort of thing, but I don't like their product. I'm not a big coffee person to begin with. But Madison, Alabama, good to see you. Well, thanks for joining me today. So let's talk about this how the companies have trained you. Do you go when you first walked into Starbucks, right? You generally you have an understanding of how most businesses like that work. You didn't pull into the parking lot and sit there. You put it in park and sit there and wait for someone to come and get you, right? You understood at a basic level that you had to get out and go into the store. Okay. Now, is that a different expectation if you shopped at Sonic? Right? Now, I think in Sonic, there is a small area where you can go into, but they bring the food to you. Here locally, we have a place called Dog and Suds, and here Indiana residents, Dog and Suds, it's like where they have the runners. You pull up, you order from your window, and they bring and they hang the food on your door, kind of like an old style, old school. But you don't do that at Starbucks, right? You either know to go through the drive-through window, or you have to get up and go. That's, even though that sounds super basic, that's indoctrination. And so when you walk in, they are training you to go through this queue, right? They're directing you through this queue. So someone who doesn't know the Starbucks process, what do? They go in the wrong way. And everyone else rolls their eyes, right? Oh my God, new Starbucks person, right? And because everybody's just so important and in a rush and on their phones, right? But you interrupt the process. Well, it's like traveling with someone who's not used to traveling, right? So if you can understand the frustration of that, it's like, like, look, the TSA person doesn't need to know everything about you, right? They don't need to know, like, oh, well, I never know to get my driver's license out and all this. I mean, please just get your driver's license out and have it ready for you, right? Like, have it ready. There's a woman in front of me when I just flew back from Minneapolis. I was at an AGC event up there, which is a networking organization. A buddy of mine, Travis Sims, has put together. Great organization. It's going to do super well, I can tell. But as I was flying back, the woman in front of me, she was not used to the process. She had not been indoctrinated to what it was like to travel in a post 9/11 world, and she had stuff everywhere. Like she had like 7 bins, and she was sorting. It was kind of a train wreck, but she hadn't been indoctrinated. She did not know the process. So you could tell the seasoned travelers like myself. I already been taking my belt off as I'm standing in line because I knew I'd been indoctrinated. So how does this relate to your business? How do you indoctrinate your clientele? And the better you can indoctrinate them into your processes, the better your customers are going to respond, and the deeper the culture you're going to have for your business. So if you have for those of you who maybe have 1 or 2 rental properties, like, well, it's not really a business. Oh, yes, it is. And if you don't change that mindset, to say, well, it's just 2 rentals, you're going to, if you're not experiencing frustration yet, I promise you will, because you're treating it like a side hustle. You're treating it like a hobby and not like a business. And what are hobbies? Hobbies cost money, right? You don't generally make money at a hobby. You can, I suppose. But generally hobbies cost money. So you don't want to treat your rental business like a hobby. So even if and I know a lot of you people out there don't necessarily have rental properties, but you do have small businesses, you want to treat that like a business. So how do you do that? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about this here. These Ask Coach sessions are meant to be short. I don't really have time to get into it right now, but I am going to be hosting some webinars that's going to go into what is the vision infrastructure process paradigm. And it's going to talk specifically, and it really will apply to many businesses, but specifically, I am going to talk about the real estate industry. So if you do want to dial in, or if you have any interest in that, please, I'm going to post it on this page, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to sign up for it. But the vision infrastructure process paradigm, first we're going to talk about establishing a vision for your future. The reason you're doing this all in the first place. So most people say, well, it's to make money. Well, yeah, money's cool, but are you really willing to give up, spending time with your children or spending time with your friends and doing all those things for anything for money? Well, obviously not. There are certain things that you're just not really willing to give up, and that's good. That's not a bad thing. But so really, we're going to establish the vision, the life output goal that you're trying by establishing this vision for your future. So hello, some of you are joining me. Hello, Christine Lucan. Hey, it's my old editor and my financial lifeguard buddy. So it's good to see you. If I'll give Christine Lucan a quick plug. She is she's joining me on the looks like she's on the my friend's side and not the landlord coach side. But Christine is a financial lifeguard, and she is fantastic. I would say if you are a couple specifically, married couple especially, get in touch with her and definitely talk with her. She definitely knows her beeswax, published author 2 times over, and really really, really sharp gal. So that's Christine Lucan. You can see her on my, you can like her stuff. Richard Penn, yes, in Marble Lake, yes. And I will be coming and visiting you soon here, Richard. So anyway, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up here because I know we're going a little bit long, but what I want to talk about on that webinar is the vision, infrastructure, process, paradigm. So first, it's going to be establishing that vision for your future about what life output goal you're trying to establish by doing the business in the first place. So I don't really care what business it is. You need to have a vision for what you're doing it for. And it's not generally revenue. I mean, not just to create more revenue. I mean, more revenue is great, but what's it for? Like, what's the whole point of it? Because you may realize that the juice isn't worth the squeeze when you put down all the time that you're going to have to spend to create that revenue, right? So we really need to establish a solid vision for a future. Next is going to be infrastructure. What's the bones of the business that you need to put together to establish to help you get to that vision, right? So I'm going to get into that. And then finally is the process. The process is the rules that run on the infrastructure tracks that you put together. So if you think about it in this way, think of vision as your map. Your infrastructure would be your train tracks, and the process would be the train that runs on those infrastructure tracks that all stays in alignment with your vision for the future. So if you think about it in that way, the vision, infrastructure, process paradigm really does help you establish your business. Now, that's just one piece of it. So the other piece of this is the process, expectations, behavior paradigm, the P, right? So the P, I said that's the train, that's the locomotive. Well, the P pulls two cars, and that's expectations and behavior. So here's my whole point of all of this is about how to train your tenants, how to train your clients, how to train your customers to get the desired result at the end of the day of what you're really trying to accomplish. And that is, customers that aren't going to take up all of your time, that are going to spend a lot of money with you, and are going to be super happy and tell everybody about it, right? I think that's a trifecta among clients. So if you can get, if you're like, man, if I can get more of those, well, this is how you're going to get more of those. So the process, expectations, behavior paradigm is really about getting the desired behavior that you want by first understanding, getting them indoctrinated into the process, making sure they understand the expectations, and then getting the behavior that you want. And if you don't get the behavior you want, how you can adjust and bring the behavior that you want to that transaction so you can get them to behave the way that they want. Now, again, we're talking about human behavior, one of the most inconsistent and surely unreliable things in nature, right? I mean, it's all over the board. But that's why I'm saying there are ways that you can bring your state to that to help address and make sure that you're getting the behavior that you want from your clients. So that's all I have. So I'm going to post not anything on this particular link, but in the next week coming up, we're going to be doing some webinars, several weeks. And if there's anybody that you think that would be get some benefit from that, please let me know. I'll be talking about that for about an hour, and we're gonna get real granular on that. Okay. All right. Benny Boyles. Yes, that would be. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but hope you're doing well. And that's all I have for today. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. It is actually, the weather looks like it's going to be good here. I'm going to go and get my laser tag on with my 11-year-old soon to be. And he's having a birthday party today. So we're going to go do our fire team stuff. So we're going to have a great time. All right. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Remember that if you don't place a value on your free time, someone else will. And please remember, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. So please make sure you're valuing your time and doing the things that are most important to you. Have a great rest of your day. Take good care. See ya.